Hey guys, and welcome back to Let's Read Asphyxia. It feels so long since I last played, so let's continue with Lillian's route. Wow, that nightgown is so revealing. Anyways, hehe, we're having a pajama party. I don't know why you're so excited. Isn't it obvious? It's because I'm witnessing such a rare sight. There's nothing more incredible, nothing more heart-pounding than seeing our idol dressed in a sleepwear like a mere mortal. I'm starting to feel faint. This must be a dream. Don't be ridiculous. There's nothing special about my pajamas. On the contrary, Lily, I think you look incredible. Look how her eyes light up to pink whenever she's like in love with Lillian. I'm so happy I was grouped with you. I'd never forgive myself if I missed out on something like this, even if I lived to be 200 years old. Judging by the amount of illegal substances you claim to have consumed on your blog, I doubt you will live to be much older than 20, let alone 200. Ha ha ha. Lillian, you're always so aloof. But that's what makes you so charming. I'm not trying to be charming. And yet you still are. You just can't help yourself. I suppose it must be because of your poetic soul. I don't know if I'll be able to get any sleep if you keep pestering me. I'm not pestering you, Lillian. I'm just curious about each and every detail of your private life. Don't you think that's commendable? Why would I commend somebody who's stalking me? I fail to see the logic. Heh. I may seem like a stalker to you, but I'm sure, in many years to come, people will appreciate the amount of effort I have expended to document your each and every move. When you become famous, the series of essays I intend to write about you and your character will be crucial in implementing and sustaining your legacy. I don't think I want my life to be recorded by a person like you. It might reflect badly upon me. Don't worry about it. Nobody will ever be as thorough as me. I intend to uncover as much information as I possibly can, the bad along with the good, for it is the only by contrasting a negative with positive that the good qualities can shine the brightest. Without darkness there is no light. Without night there is no day. And without Lillian, I have no cause to be alive. Your last opposition was a little off there. Oh, really? It must be because I'm not half the genius you are, my dear Lillian. I'm beginning to feel faint. I believe I need some fresh air to clear my head. I'm going to have a walk. Don't wait up for me. Huh? But it's so dark outside. What if you get lost or fall into the lake or slip and bump your head? I appreciate the concern, but it's unnecessary. I did used to live in the countryside when I was younger. I'm more aware of the perils this seemingly idyllic landscape presents the most. I see. I suppose your soul is so unyielding it cannot be fettered easily, not by the four walls of this mere youth hostel. I would expect nothing less from Lillian Woodsworth. I won't go alone either. Walks are always more enjoyable when taken with another, a person who appreciates the beauties of natural world as much as I do. I'm going to take Samantha with me. Are you sure this will be alright, Lillian? What? Are you telling me you wanted to stay in my room so you could be harangued by the Quincey? No, that isn't it. I can't think of anything I would like less, actually. And I'm quite good at imagining things. Then appreciate the fact that I'm doing you a favor and don't worry so much. I wish I could. However, I fear my mind is naturally predisposed to worrying. It is one of my special talents. If only your special talent could be something more useful, like being able to do long division inside your head. That would probably save you and me a lot of grief. I agree with you, but I can always control my own thoughts. We're not supposed to leave our rooms this night. If a teacher happens to find out, we might get in trouble. It will be fine. Nobody will know. When did you care about the rules anyway? If you were that diligent, surely you would make more than an effort to get to class on time. Well, I thought I was going to try and turn over a new leaf, you know. The New Year's may have passed already, but one can make resolutions at any point in their life. Indeed, that's true. How admirable. You're a regular prodigal son. I'm worried the Quincey might tell on us too. She's always loved spreading rumors. She won't. That girl might be a pain, but at least she does what I tell her. You have nothing to fear from her. I hope so. If we do get caught, perhaps you will be excused, given you are the head of the student council. But I'm not nearly as popular among the teachers as you are. That is because you do not go out of your way to make yourself likable. If you stop being so late at everything, I'm sure their opinion of you would change. Perhaps. However, I feel it may be too late now. It's a lost cause. You may be right, but you have no reason to fret. I don't? No. Even if we are discovered, I will vouch for you. You mean you will defend me from the wrath of Miss Pope? Of course. I believe I will be able to think of some kind of convincing lie to satisfy her. Haha, you underestimate just how much she hates me, Lily. And you underestimate just how persuasive I can be. I don't want to be a poet for nothing. Part of being a writer is being able to influence others, is it not? I will tell her that I felt sick and needed a breath of fresh air, but I did not want to go outside alone. I believe that the cover story will be adequate. Well, if you're sure. So, we have come back here? Yes, enjoy it. It's peaceful. cold? No, I'm fine. Don't be silly. If you were fine, you would not be shaking like that. Is it really that obvious? You were always obvious. You would not know what subtlety was even if it hit you over the head. But it would not hit me over the head, for that would not be very subtle, would it? Don't play word games with me. The fact remains that you are freezing, and this must be rectified. You really don't need to worry about me, Lily. I don't want you fussing after me all the time, or it'll end up as it was before. It will once more become too clingy, and you will grow tired and disaffected. You've already left me once. I don't know what I would do if it were to happen again. I am scared. Silly. Ow! You are cold and uncomfortable, and I will not be able to converse with you whilst being aware of these 2 points. I would feel too guilty. Guilty? Because I'm the one who brought you here. I don't want you to suffer because of my selfish whims. I like to try and take care of my friends if I can. I did not join you because you demanded it of me. You make it sound as though I had no free will in the matter. I followed you because I wanted to, because I wished to talk to you, because I like talking to you, and because you wanted to avoid a Quincey. Well, that too, but it was not the only reason. You flatter me. Regardless, you are shivering. You will catch a cold like this. So, for my peace of mind, what are you doing, Lillian? I'm keeping you warm. What else? But you... do you really want to be so close to me? I don't see why I wouldn't. You are my friend, after all. But... I realize that you have some rather maudlin sensibilities, Sam. But the misunderstood artist freezing to death in the embrace of nature is incredibly cliché. Don't let yourself succumb to such an overwrought demise. If you do, I would be so annoyed I would not attend your funeral. That's so cold. Just like you right now? That was a good retort. Almost disgustingly so. Nobody else can argue with me like that, Lillian. I don't know why I even bother anymore. Good. You're so ridiculous and so determined to continue being ridiculous that you need somebody to argue with you from time to time. Well, I won't counter that. I know you're right. You're being awfully nice to me, Lillian. Awfully. You make it sound as though I'm torturing you. Well, maybe you are, to a certain degree, killing me with your kindness. Isn't that how the saying goes? You would prefer it if I was cruel and distant? I wouldn't prefer it at all. I can say that with certainty, but I don't know if this is good for my heart. When you treat me nicely, Lillian, I don't know how to react. I get flustered. How contrary. If you had told me about this peculiar ailment in advance, maybe I could have spat on you or pulled your hair. I'm not too sure about that. I can be rather vicious when I feel I have been wronged. Well, I've seen you lose your temper when you get negative feedback on your academic work, but that usually wanes after a while, when your self-loathing takes over. That's true. I'm probably the worst kind of coward. I get angry and lose my temper, then instantly regret it and feel guilty. So much that the wrong party is incapable of getting mad at me. You always feel guilty. Perhaps I deserve to. I did try to stab my older sister when I was a child. You did? Why? I don't really know. It was over something rather stupid. Well, that doesn't sound too out of the ordinary for you. Are you calling me stupid, Lillian? No, I'm saying that the things that upset you are generally are. But do go on with your story. I'm intrigued. Attempted murder always makes for an interesting tale. You have been spending too much time with the Quincey. Not of my own volition, I can assure you. Well, I was 7, and Fran, my sister, was 9. We had an argument because Fran ate a snack that I had been saving for myself, and I tried to stab her. I never even had the opportunity to try. My mother entered the kitchen when I was holding the knife. I was afraid she would punish me, so I dropped it and ran away. I had no idea food was that important to you, Sam. Gluttony is a deadly sin, you know. And what, too. I am aware. It wasn't really because of the food. I suppose I've always been jealous of Fran. She's older than me, and she's so pretty. Mother and father always made a fuss of her. Mother especially. I'm convinced Mother likes Fran. Her far more than she likes me. You can imagine why. I like her a lot too. Maybe that's why it upset me so much. I knew if Mother did prefer Fran, she would have good reason to. I mean, what is there to like about me? I'm selfish and irresponsible, so desperate for constant company that I only alienate those around me. I've been like that ever since I was a child. Maybe I haven't changed that much. I can say, I did not know you when you were younger. This might, however, be a blessing. What do you mean? You sound as though you were quite passionate in your youth. You were chasing me, Lillian. Just a little. What of it? It isn't funny. I really did feel bad about what I did. Or nearly did, rather, to Fran. I cried a lot and begged her for forgiveness. I must have looked rather pathetic. I don't know why I thought to hurt her to begin with, given I knew it would only upset me later. In retrospect, it was very foolish of me. Then again, when am I not foolish? I can't answer that question, though I can your previous one. It is simple. You do things that upset you because you're a masochist. I am not. And I think you're protesting too much. Well then, if that makes you an egotist, Lillian, for believing you can arbitrarily assign personality traits to me. I act like this only because I'm a poet. Observing the world around me is what I do. I apologize if you feel I was mocking your circumstances, though. I too have a rather fraught relationship with my family. Not to the extent that I tried to murder them, mind. But I would be lying if I said I had not contemplated it. Your family? Yes. I have family too, of course. Did you think you were the only one? No, of course not. I'm not that self-centered. Well, I say I have a family, but perhaps had would be a more suitable term. I have never spoken about this before, not with anybody. None of the other students at St. Mary's know about this, and I don't want them to. I don't want anybody to pity me. But perhaps I should at least tell you. I know so much about you it would feel unfair not to return to favor. You trust me that much? Trust is not the right word. You have proven yourself time after time to be incredibly unreliable. You can't even be trusted to wear matching socks 90% of the time. However, I know you would not tell this to anybody else. Even though you treat yourself with little respect, you show a great deal more of it towards me. I know you would never betray me. No, I wouldn't. I don't have many talents, but at least I have my loyalty to you. I would sooner cut off my own legs than compromise you, Lillian. And the sad part is, I almost believe you. After going for the hair, a leg or two would be just a natural progression, wouldn't it? Well, with legs, more blood would be involved. I don't think I'm very good with excessive violence. But all the poems you write are so gruesome. That's true, but they are fictional. I can sense and inflict pain upon my characters, but I can't do the same to you, to myself. But if you wanted me to cut off a limb or two, Lillian, I would at least attempt it. After I had a drink of courage, that is. Scout's honor. You are not a scout, Sam. But I don't like my mother enough to make a pledge based on whatever limited life she has left in her. Haha. Well, you don't need to do something so drastic. I believe in you enough without the promises of self-mutilation. I want you to know that I appreciate you, that I value your friendship, and so, I think I can tell you the story of my childhood, condensed and abridged for your own satisfaction. Are you interested? Of course. I very much want to know. Well then. I suppose I should start with my parents. I'm the second oldest of 5. My family's fairly big, though not as big as yours, of course. Not many families are. My parents had too much faith in their multitasking abilities, which later proved to be misplaced. Yes, well, perhaps mine did too. Maybe that isn't fair though. From what I remember, my parents were nice people. My father was a little distant, but I think that's de rigueur for so-called learned men. He was always away at work. My mother though, I don't remember at all much about her. She died when I was 8 years old. My father was too busy with work to look after us, so we were sent to live with various relatives. I went to go and live with my mother's parents out in Penrith. It's only a few miles away from here, you know. So you were raised here? Around this area, yes. My parents lived in the Lake District too. I used to play the moors a lot with Theodore when we were both small, so I know my way around reasonably well. Ah. After my mother died, however, my life changed a fair deal. As I said, I had to live with my grandparents, while Theodore wanted to stay with some relatives in Yorkshire. He still lives there even now. I haven't seen him in almost 8 years, even though we were so close. And do you miss him? I miss him a lot. When we were younger, he was the most important person in the world to me. Though I'm his older sister, I'm older by only a year. I was raised with him side by side through my childhood years. I certainly recall more about him than I do my mother. We were more like twins than brother and sister, and we were always together. Being parted from him was unsettling. It was as though part of me went missing, an arm or a leg, or one of my lungs. I felt so lost, as though I wasn't even myself anymore. Maybe that was because I'd never been myself in singular. I'd always been a part of a plural with Theodore. Perhaps this sounds strange to you. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to talk about it very much, but they weren't the nicest people I'd ever met. They were never very nice to me. I think maybe they were upset that I was alive. This strange, quiet grandchild they never wanted, and their daughter wasn't. They fed and clothed me, but a roof above over my head, so I suppose they weren't entirely bad. They never hit me or said anything outright abusive, but I knew while I was living there that they had only taken me in out of charity. Maybe it was because they felt guilty they did not love me as grandparents should have done, and so they were trying to make amends. Did I hope if they spent enough time with me that they would learn to find something within me that they could like? I wonder. Nevertheless, arrangement didn't work. They rarely spoke with me, showed little interest in my studies, and never bothered themselves with things like parents' evening or sports day. When they did interact with me, it was to scold me. They scolded me quite a lot, although I don't remember why. Maybe they didn't know why either. It was depressing, lonely too. I thought if I kept living in that house with people who did not care for me, I would eventually fade away. I feared I would become invisible, fading into nothingness. Flowers can grow if there isn't any sunshine. I think people are the same. If they're not given enough love and affection, then they start to wither away. That was a rather heavy-handed simile, though. I feel quite ashamed of myself. Reminiscing is incredibly good at bringing to the forefront the most needlessly sentimental of language, isn't it? I don't know. I think cliches can be effective sometimes. If a face has the weight of hundreds, thousands, hundreds and thousands of people behind it who would have used it in similar situations to express thoughts and feelings they could not otherwise communicate, then it becomes even more powerful, doesn't it? I think cliches help bring people together. It unites our thoughts and feelings so people can relate to one another more. That might be true. I never look at it that before. I don't care for baseless theorizing. Nevertheless, I'd rather avoid cliches and sensationalism in my writing whenever I can. Critics don't take kindly to that kind of thing. Maybe that's because cliches are the language of the common man. Perhaps they think it's not literary enough. Well, I don't see anything wrong with writing poetry that resonates with the common man. That's what I try to do, after all. But don't you think cliches are too far removed from real life? It's because everybody uses cliches, applying them to all kinds of situations, which will differ from person to person, that they start to become meaningless, buzzwords that signify nothing other than how empty they are. Maybe that's also true. Maybe they are hollow. Maybe they are empty. It might be hard to make something mean anything if it's been said too many times. Like repeating a word over and over until it stops sounding like a real word. But I like the sense of community. Even if I could speak in the most elegant parlance imaginable, I would feel incredibly lonely if nobody could understand me. I just want to communicate with other people. For what other purpose is there to write other than communication? I want people to understand me, and I want to understand other people too. Then again, everybody perceives things differently. No person's way of interacting with the world is the same as another's. Does that mean true communication is impossible if you're all living in different worlds? In that case, what is reality? It all seems rather subjective to me. Well, see. If I hit you over the head with this, don't you think it would hurt? Yes, of course. You're not really going to hit me with that, are you? Of course not. I don't derive pleasure from causing others pain. I was simply using it as an example. An example? Yes. You shouldn't worry too much about your subjective realities. Some things are going to remain true no matter what happens. Discussing metaphysics is a waste of time anyway. It just upsets you. They're just vague hypotheses anyway. It's impossible to prove. You're always so sensible, Lillian. I wish I were able to think in more practical terms. It would be more useful. Trust me, it comes with practice. When I still lived with my grandparents, I was so caught up in my own unhappiness I couldn't see a life beyond my current one. I thought nothing was going to change and I was going to spend the rest of my life drifting, unable to feel anything other than loneliness. After a while, I started to think that suicide may be a viable option, just like you do sometimes, right? Yes, that's right. I'm a very morbid person, and it shows. When you feel sad, I can always tell. You talk differently, you act differently, as though you're not truly existing in the world. But that's no way to live. I learned that for myself. So, even if you felt depressed, you have done, Lillian. Are you surprised? I can't help but be. You always look so together. You even remember to wear socks. Yes, I forgot that is the true sign of one's mental state. Whether they're wearing socks or not. You're teasing me, Lillian. Because you say silly things sometimes. I will admit, though, it is surprising. I surprise myself thinking about my past. How could I have been such a gloomy child only 5 years ago, too? Back then, it felt as though my whole world was closing in around me. I thought, no matter what I did, nothing would change. So I might as well disappear. But I was wrong. Things did change, and my problems slowly began to resolve themselves, even though they felt insurmountable to me. This is why I don't like being depressed. I don't like it when other people are either. Even if you're sad at the moment, there are no feelings that are permanent, perpetual. Humans are fickle, and their feelings change with their environment and circumstances. If you're unhappy, you should do something about it. Moping does no good. Being depressed is nothing more than a waste of time. How mercenary. I doubt people get depressed because they want to be. It's a miserable condition, and I would not wish upon my worst enemy. I realize that, and I'm sympathetic to those who are depressed to a certain extent, given I've felt the same way before, but you can't indulge yourself in those feelings. If you do, they'll eat you up inside. Even if it is hard, you need to keep going. Then things are bound to work themselves out. And if they don't, I don't know. I've never been in situations so very bad I could not overcome it on my own. I suppose my advice would be the same nonetheless. Just keep trying. What else can we humans do? You could always give up. You could. I, on the other hand, would not. I would not even consider it a viable option. You make this sound so simple, Lillian, but I cannot understand at all. How were you able to keep going, even when things were difficult for you? It's simple. I made myself a goal. A goal? Yes. I was tired of living with my parents, so I decided to do something about it. That something was attending St. Mary's. I thought I would finally be able to escape them if I attended boarding school, and they could escape me too. It was a beneficial arrangement for both parties, neither of whom liked the other. And that's why you came here? Yes. So you see, I don't care to talk about the past in great detail. It makes me remember the person I used to be, and I don't care much. I do not much care for her. I must apologize if my story did not meet your expectations, though. What do you mean? Well, given I was so secretive about it, I thought you may have built it up to be something rather more melodramatic inside your head. I know how much you love the grim and gruesome, Sam. That may be so, but only in fiction. Real life is different. I know at least that much. Are you quite positive? Of course I am. Your childhood sounds difficult enough without adding yet more twist to it. Not all tales need to include zombie sailors for them to be interesting. My attention span is limited. Jeez. I guess I'm kind of stupid, aren't I? Just a little in certain areas. But you would not be you if you weren't. It is an essential part of your character. Thanks, I suppose. So, how do you feel knowing about my past? Do you pity me? Of course not. I could never pity you, Lillian. I would have no right. You are far superior to me in each and every regard. If you want to know how I feel, I suppose I'm happy. Not because you had such a miserable past or anything. That isn't what I meant. I just... I'm happy that you told me. Maybe it means that we have become closer? Well, I don't know about closer exactly. I don't like being close to people. Not to anybody but Theodore. But I appreciate your company, and I think you're a good friend. I don't want to lose you, even when we leave St. Mary's. I have no real desire to stay in contact with my other classmates, but you, you're special to me in your own strange, Samantha way. It would sadden me if I never saw you again. I do worry about you too. Huh? Well then, what are you going to do when you leave St. Mary's? I want to go to university. Oxford, I think. I like studying and I want to do more of it. After that, though, I can think of nothing I would like better than to return home. Home? Yes. Not to my grandparents. I never thought of their house as my home. But back here, to the countryside. To the same town I used to live back when I was still young. And I want to bring Theodore with me. We haven't seen each other in so long and we have so much to talk about. So much to catch up on. I don't want to be parted from him any longer. It sounds like you have it all worked out. More or less. I like to know what I'm doing with my life. So lucky. I'm jealous. I never have any idea what I'm going to do. I can hardly even decide what I'm going to eat for dinner, let alone what I'm going to do 5 years from now. This is because you don't plan ahead. You're a fickle person and you change your mind easily, and you can never settle on one thing for too long. That's why you have such a hard time completing your homework or your creative projects. To list all of my faults and flaws in such a dispassionate manner, without even a trace of sympathy, that really is cold, Lillian. You're going to make me cry. Well, if I do make you cry, you always have my handkerchief. Use it if you need to. It won't go anywhere. So you would sit and watch me cry as though it's some kind of a spectator sport? Maybe. How mean! What did I do to befriend such a cold, callous person? Where did I go? Where did I go so wrong? You did not do anything wrong. You simply have poor taste. You may try to deny it, but to me, it has always been obvious. Deep down, you genuinely enjoy being abused, don't you? I do not. You do. It gives you more reasons to be unhappy. And being unhappy is something you enjoy too. When unhappy, you have an excuse for your actions, a reason why you're always late, why you never finish the things you start, why you're so lazy. It's quite a commendable system to constantly evade taking responsibility for your actions. You really are mean, Lily. I can't help but be unhappy. It's part of my DNA, like the color of my eyes. And I will accept that part of you, whether it's biological or psychological. Having been similarly gloomy during my earlier years, I feel it would be hypocritical if I were too cruel. And as I have said before, I truly am sorry for treating you so poorly over the Christmas holidays. I should have tried to be more understanding, especially given my own past experiences. Really? When I see you suffering under the weight of your own melancholy, I cannot deny that often I think I was able to recover, so why can't you? But I know that's not fair. No two humans are entirely the same, and we deal with our problems in different ways, even though I remain unconvinced that your way of dealing can truly be termed that, given you always seem so unhappy. I will, however, try to be more understanding. Does that sound fair? It does sound fair. I would appreciate it. You might be right anyway. Perhaps I do use my own unhappiness to excuse my laziness. I have always tried to evade responsibility, yet ever since I was a child. After almost that ran, I cried and cried, Partially, I cried because I felt guilty, but I remember thinking distinctly that I wanted my parents to pity me. I thought if they pitied me, they would scold me less harshly. Maybe I remain unhappy because it's easier. I've been depressed for I don't know how long. Years upon years, ever since I can remember. I'm scared to change now that I have grown used to it. But if I have you by my side, maybe I'll be able to get better. You keep reminding me of how foolish I am, at least. Well, reminding other people that they are foolish is one of my favorite pastimes. I would be more than happy to assist you. Thank you. I was wondering. Yes? Well, I thought if I would not be so much of a burden, then I don't know what I want to do with my life or where will I go, but I would like to be by your side, Lily. Always. You're my closest, dearest friend. I can't stand the thought of being without you, and I hate London. Over the years, I've grown to hate London so much. It does not suit me at all. The crowds, the noise, the large buildings made of concrete, that tower over... It makes me feel ill, out of place, like one of those images in a children's activity book. The ones where you need to compare two pictures and then pick out the details that are wrong. And I think I'm very, very wrong in London. If you would not mind then, I was wondering, after I finish university, if I could come and stay with you. Like you, I was also born in the countryside and I miss it. I would like to live somewhere calm, quiet, tranquil, and I'm sure it would be even more beautiful if I could be near you. I wanted that so much for such a long time. Maybe out in the countryside, away from the rest of the world, I would be able to get better, and then I could be happier too. I think if I'm with you, maybe I have a real chance. A chance to be happy, truly happy, for the first time in my neurotic, troubled little life. Sure. Huh? What was that? I said sure. You don't need to sound so surprised. I was agreeing with your proposition. But why? Why are you asking? Were you hoping I would say no? Not at all. I wasn't hoping you would say no, but I suppose I expected it. Your response caught me off guard. You're such a pessimist, Sam. Why must you always assume the worst? That's why you're always so unhappy. I'm sorry. You don't need to apologize to me. I'm not Miss Pope. I know that, and I'm very, very grateful for it. If you were Miss Pope, I would not care for you nearly as much. But I'm annoying, Lillian. You think so yourself too, don't you? Indeed, you're incredibly annoying. So, why would you agree to spend more time with me? And so easily too. I would drive you crazy, wouldn't I? You're already driving me crazy, what with your constant attempts to sabotage your own future. Why are you hoping to gain from this? I don't know. Information maybe? Of what? I suppose that you're not agreeing because you pity me. I can't help but worry that this is another one of your attempts to apologize for hurting me, like cutting my hair was, but it doesn't mean anything to you. Not like it does to me. You never listen to me. Ow! I offered to help cut your hair because all the unordered ends were annoying me. It looked sloppy and did not meet the standards required of students of St. Mary's. As for your proposition that someday we might live together, I agreed because I enjoy spending time with you. I find your comments and criticism of my creative work incredibly useful, and I hold your opinions in high esteem. Would it make you feel better if I said I wasn't extending this invitation to you on your behalf but mine? I'm more than capable of being selfish if you wish. I'm not above such things. I don't know if it would make me happier. I don't know if I could be happier than I am at this moment. Why not? Because I can't be happier than I am right now, Lillian, because I've never been this happy before. In my whole life, I think. Why are you getting so sentimental? I've hardly said anything surprising. It may not be for you, but it is for me. I care about you, Lily. I care about you so much. I'm happy. I'm simply happy that we can continue being friends. I was so afraid that you had grown tired of me, but now I see I'm able to hope again. Friends forever, right? What? You expect me to indulge in something so childish? Well, I thought it would not suit you, but it would make me happy. Oh? I thought you said you could not be any happier than you already were. Maybe I could manage just a little bit more. A tin so into me. I don't know. I need to weigh up my pros and cons carefully. As the head of a student council, I must be vigilant. The safety of my fellow students is my number one priority. If you were to become deliriously happy you cannot handle it, and had a cardiac arrest, that wouldn't reflect very well on me. Lillian, don't tease me. This is meant to be a heartwarming moment. I apologize. I could not help myself. You really are a bully, aren't you? Sometimes, when the mood strikes, the strong have to prey on the weak to survive. And you would prey on me? No, I have no desire to do that. It wouldn't be interesting at all, given I already know what the end result would be. Must be nice. Oh, it is. You really are an egoist. An egoist hiding in the skin of a pretty demure young lady. Your attitude is not nearly as pretty as your face. But you want to be my friend all the same. I suppose so. And if it isn't what you really want, I will oblige. I would like to remain friends with you too. Friends? Not forever, because I can promise you forever. And I know neither of us will live that long, but friends all the same. Do you think you can accept my terms and conditions? I would be more than happy to. Then let's stay friends. Arguing with you is more stressful than it's worth. And it was lonely too. You missed me? More than I imagined I would. I really don't know anybody quite like you. Isn't that a good thing? I suppose. If I knew too many Samanthas, I fear I would go crazy. One of you, however, can be managed. Although I've always felt it was immature to rank relationships, I can't deny it. For better or for worse, you really are my best friend.
On the shoreline at the sunset, watching seabirds soar, feet in the sand with my head in my hand. This luxury pushing our souls up. Harmony, nature's great sanctuary.